Today we're going to be making a resin frog, but before we get started, I need to mix up my resin, so I'm going to be showing you step by step how I mix my resin. You're going to need a mixing cup, and I like to use this epoxy resin from Let's Resin. Discount code NAPTIME will give you a discount. It's a 1-to-1 ratio by volume, so I'm going to pour in equal parts A and equal parts B. It's going to come with a jug like this of part A and another jug of part B. And when you pour out your resin, you want to make sure you're squatting down to eye level, making sure you're measuring right on the nose. To make the resin frog we're going to be making today, I would mix up 8 ounces. So I would do 4 ounces of the part A and 4 ounces of the part B, which is this part here. But I was working on quite a few different projects when I made this video, so I typically always mix up 16 ounces, so 8 ounces part A and 8 ounces part B. You just need to make sure your parts A and B are completely equal or your resin will not set up properly. And when you use resin, you want to make sure you work in a well-ventilated area, wear nitrile gloves, and wear a respirator mask. So we're going to mix this up for 3 minutes, and when you mix your resin, you want to use a silicone spatula. The wooden stir sticks are not sealed or treated in any way, so they will leak air into your resin and introduce air bubbles. And air bubbles are not fun to deal with, especially if you're new to resin. They can be really frustrating. So I like to use a silicone stir stick like this one. And when you mix, you want to mix slowly. You don't want to whip it up and really stir fast and introduce a bunch of air bubbles. Just mix slowly, scrape the bottom of the cup, scrape the sides of your cup, scrape off your stir stick, and you can also do like a figure 8 motion as well. That helps you stir slowly and really helps incorporate those parts A and B together because you want to make sure your parts A and B are completely incorporated. So we mix that up for 3 minutes. Now what I do is a double cup mixing technique. I take that mix that we mixed up for 3 minutes and pour that into a new clean cup. And that's why the silicone stir stick or stirring apparatus comes in handy because it helps you get every single drop of resin out of that first cup. You want to make sure you get every single drop of resin out. Otherwise, your mix will be off and your resin might not set up properly. So just take your time, make sure you scrape every single drop out, and now we're going to mix for another 3 minutes. This will ensure that your resin is completely mixed. It's going to make sure that those parts A and B are incorporated and your resin is not going to not set up properly due to under mixing. The 2 top reasons why your resin will not set up is it's undermixed or your parts A and B are not completely equal. Same thing on this one. You want to make sure you scrape the bottom of the cup, scrape the sides of the cup, scrape off your stir stick, and mix slowly. And resin likes to be at least 70 degrees Fahrenheit to set up properly, so you want to make sure your workspace is at least 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's it. After my resin is mixed up, I pour it into 3 smaller cups and run it through my bubble remover machine from Let's Resin. This machine is so easy to use. You literally just take off the lid, put your cups in there, turn the knob to 9 minutes, press the button on the front of the machine, and it runs all by itself. You don't have to do anything else. It works great to get rid of bubbles. In medium viscosity resin, I like to use the Let's Resin epoxy in this bubble remover machine, and discount code NAPTIME will give you a discount. So I ran that resin through the bubble remover, and now we're going to make our resin frog. I got this mold from Let's Resin. It comes in a set with this frog mold and a lizard mold. I will link this down below in the description box. Discount code NAPTIME will give you a discount. And I'm just taking some clear and pouring it into my mold. And I was just taking my time, pouring slowly and waiting till I only had a little bit of resin left in the bottom of my cup so I could go in and fill in the very fine details on the frog's hands and feet because these parts were really, really tiny. And I'm also going to take my gloved hand and just kind of squeeze the mold a little bit and make sure that the resin kind of flows into those points on the toes and the feet. I'm also going to take a little silicone stir stick and just help the resin go into those areas to make sure that the resin was going to completely fill up the mold in these little spots here. And now we're going to add some iridescent film. These are actually iridescent roses that I cut up and I'm adding to the frog. If you want to check out some of the tutorials that I've made showing how to put a fake resin rose into a sphere, I will link those down below. I used one of those fake roses and I just cut off the petals and the leaves, and I'm just casting those iridescent pieces into the frog here. So I'm just taking my gloved hand and pushing them down to make sure they're completely submerged in that clear resin, and that's really going to be it. Super simple and easy. To make this, you could also use iridescent cellophane. You can get that off Amazon. It comes in a roll. You could just take that and cut it up into smaller pieces, but I was just using what I had on hand, so I took one of those iridescent fake roses and just cut off some of the petals and the leaves. Now I'm just going in with a little bit more clear, just double checking to make sure that my mold is completely full, especially in the hands and the feet of the frog. I did overfill this because I wanted to make sure it was completely full. So I'm going to go in with a wooden stir stick and just kind of go over it like this. So that gets off any excess resin in these spots of the mold. You can do this if you overfill your mold, and you can do this on any mold. Just go in with a stir stick, swipe it across the surface of your resin, and that will take off any excess. And then you can just put it on your parchment paper like this. I like to work on parchment paper because you can just peel the resin off when it's cured the next day and reuse your parchment paper over and over again. And that's it. I let it cure overnight. This is the next day. Here we are getting ready to take it out of the mold. Take your time when you demold these. Don't go super fast and be rough because the hands and the feet are fragile. So just unmold those areas first, and then you can go like this and just pull off the top of the head. Turned out so pretty. I absolutely love it. And to clean off any bits of resin on my molds, I just use electrical tape. You could use packing tape, but I like to use electrical tape because you can get it pretty affordable at $1.25 Tree. And I just go in and get off any little bits of resin so my mold is ready to use the next time I want to use it. But here's how the frog turned out. It's so iridescent and beautiful. I just absolutely love it. I did have a little bit of overspill right here, but I can just peel that off really easily just like this. No big deal, but let me know what you think. Definitely check out Let's Resin. They have everything you need to do resin. Discount code NAPTIME will give you a discount. I will link all the materials I used down below in the description box, along with any coupon codes that I have. And let me know if you guys have any questions down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Naptime Creations. And I will see you guys soon for another video. Thanks so much for watching, and go check out a few more of my other videos. I'll link a few of my favorites down below in the description box. Bye guys!